Good day, everyone. Welcome to Real Conservative News. I'm your host, Nathaniel Rajkumar. Hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. Starting off locally here in Trinidad and Tobago. The government of Trinidad and Tobago is stepping up its fight against the illegal smuggling of alcohol and tobacco products. You know, like the Carnival brand of cigarette and whatsoever and things like that. Yes, they want to go after that. Sounds good, and it sounds really good. But my response is not something that will be pleasing to the ears of fellow UNC supporters. And sadly, that's just the person that I am. This is exploitation of people's addiction to cigarettes and alcohol. Tanku knows, Minister of Finance Tanku knows that a large portion of the population will resort to purchasing the illegal, cheaper products of cigarettes, cheaper brands, of cigarettes. And that is why he's cracking down on it, people. By cracking down on illegal imports, citizens will have no choice but to purchase the extremely expensive brands, which will generate revenue for the government. Think about it. When you're going to only spend about $10 to $15 for the cheaper brand of cigarettes, when that is eliminated and they take it away from the Chinese supermarkets and them, what people are going to have to do, they are addicted to smoking. So they're going to go back to the expensive Broadway, Mount Door, and the master of all, Dumore, and the next one, Dulhon or something like that. I can't remember. I know I knew it back in the days when Benson and Hedges, but it ended up changing the name afterwards. But nevertheless, that's what's going to happen. And who's going to end up generating that revenue? The government. So this is not really about health. This is all about basically taxing people in a very subtle way. I do not approve. I do not like it at all, what is going on. But anyhow, I had a little more contribution there. I said this is yet another PNM policy being pushed by this minister. This is exactly what Taxport and the PNM were doing for the past 10 years, people. They didn't increase the cost by 100%, though. This is the most ridiculous we have ever seen here in Trinidad and Tobago. So they didn't increase the cost by 100% immediately, like this new taxman is doing. But the same agenda was being accomplished over the time, generating increased revenue, basically taking advantage of people's addiction to smoking, especially, and even drinking. It doesn't bother me, people, because I don't smoke and I barely drink, so it doesn't matter. But I don't think about myself alone. I think about other people. It angers me to see the UNC falling into PNM's traps, because this type of utter nonsense will secure, rest assured, people, this will secure a victory for the mighty Morphin Ghanayam Balize crew in 2030. Stop taxing the population and focus on diversification. And to my dear Prime Minister, whom I still support, we the People's Prime Minister, Kamala Persad-Bissessar, please wake up. Please wake up. Pull up the socks of your finance minister and your minister of Homeland Security. If not, please replace them. Ladies, meet your new go-to bag, our mega duffel handbag, perfect for your travel, shopping, the gym, and everything in between. Crafted from premium Oxford material, it's not just stylish, it's built to last. The ideal size, flawless design, and unbeatable quality make it the bag you'll reach for every time. Versatile and ready for anything. WhatsApp 762-6589 to order yours today. The U.S. carried out another attack on a vessel in the Caribbean, killing 3 narco-terrorists. But you know, the mainstream media puts it in quotation because they don't actually believe it's narco-terrorists. They believe it's fishermen. So let me read over that. The U.S. carried out another attack on a vessel in the Caribbean, killing 3 narco-terrorists by way of a lethal kinetic strike. My response, I was being a little sarcastic. I said, nah, Jed. According to PNM patriots, jihadists, and Maduro, and of course the 1% media, those men are fishermen who were simply going on a run. I never knew fishermen that use that term when they're going out to sea to catch fish. How often have you ever heard fishermen saying, we're going on a run when they're going to catch fish, people? We know very well what that term refers to. No more overheating phones. Cool your phones in seconds. Prevents damage to phones and battery issues. Better gaming experience and streaming. USB powered and fast charging. Lightweight and quiet. Ideal for kids and adults. Works with all smartphones. Makes a great gift. Call or WhatsApp 868-762-6589. Venezuelan international relations. Everything mainstream media posting for the past few days is from Venezuelan professionals and, of course, our experts, and, of course, definitely our tribal experts throughout the Caribbean and here in Trinidad and Tobago as well. But a lot of news coming out of Venezuela. You have to really wonder if CNC3 and the rest of mainstream media in Trinidad is now Venezuelan media. Venezuelan international relations expert Andres Periantoni is criticizing TNT for dismantling its traditional relationship with most of CARICOM as its relationship with the US gets deeper, as though it's something wrong to get closer to our most powerful democratic ally, United States of America. My response: an official investigation should be launched into the actual agenda behind what's being reported by CNC3 and other 1% media houses in TNT. It's one thing, people, to boldly show support for the PNM. That's people's freedom of choice. All it shows that the media is biased. But now these journalists are spewing propaganda messages made by state officials from a hostile and even criminal foreign regime. To me, this is now bordering treason, in my personal opinion. This isn't about CARICOM. CNC3 appears to be attempting to bully Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar into supporting CARICOM, which equals Maduro. And what they term the zone of peace, which of course actually means that they desire to allow Maduro to continue destroying Venezuela while also annexing the entire Essequibo region in Guyana. These journalists should be investigated by the TTPS because, of course, if we actually find a way to stop the US from taking action against Venezuela, Maduro is going to continue to attempt invasion of the Essequibo region in Guyana. And one of these days, he's going to also invade our territory because he has made it clear over and over again, some of his officials, he himself hasn't really said it publicly, but a lot of his officials and people under his administration have stated how Trinidad basically belongs to them. And it's only, and he also made false allegations against us, people. I don't understand how people are forgetting that already. He said that we have people across here that were conspiring with rebels in Venezuela to overthrow his government, and that he will go anywhere to apprehend these people. That means he was willing to invade Trinidad. Why the tribals don't wake up and realize that, I just will never understand. Premium touchscreen wireless headsets restocked. 1.9-inch HD full-color touchscreen. ANC and ENC noise reduction for crystal clear calls. 9D panoramic sound. Long battery life and fast charging. Control music, videos, TikTok, YouTube, and much more. Camera feature, voice assistant, timer, stopwatch, and lyrics on screen. Water resistant, sleek design. Available in gold, black, blue, and purple. Gift ready packaging with replacement earbuds included. Never lose your earbuds again with the Find Headphones feature that actually works. Don't miss out. WhatsApp 762-6589 to place your order. Limited stock available. Some sad news. A woman was found hanging in the garage of area of a home in Couva early Friday morning. A beautiful woman, 33 years old. The deceased has been identified as 33-year-old Stephanie Ragunoff of McBean, Couva. Condolences to the family. But as we know very well, a lot of the times these hangings are staged and the individual was actually murdered. I hope that the police investigate this thoroughly to determine if this was really self-inflicted, or if this woman is yet another victim of either domestic violence or some other type of murder. Tired of losing your keys, phone, or coins in that annoying gap between your car seat and the console? We've got the perfect solution. Our universal car seat gap fillers are back in stock, ready to save your stuff and make your ride clutter-free. Available in black, brown, beige, and red, they're designed to fit any car seat and blend perfectly with your interior. Simply WhatsApp 762-6589 to place your order and enjoy delivery straight to your door in just 1 to 3 days. This next report, herbalists, the ones that worship the weed, the new false god of Trinidad and Tobago and the entire world actually, will be very displeased with this next news report. $11.9 million worth of cannabis, weed, seized in Trin City. Officers of the Narcotics and Dangerous Drug Task Force South, working in collaboration with a specialist unit of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, seized over 108 kilograms of high-grade cannabis valued at approximately $11.9 million TT during an anti-crime exercise conducted in the North Central Division on Friday, 1st November 2025. All I hope and pray is that the evidence remains in the evidence room instead of disappearing because Casper, the not-so-friendly ghost, decided to take it, or rats end up eating the evidence. That's the excuse, people. My response, now there were individuals online that started to ask this question. One in particular, but I believe there were others as well. How come Trump didn't end up destroying that vessel that brought in so much drugs? So my response was, dear PNM activists and jihadists, name one of Trump's attacks which took place in Venezuela or Trinidadian waters. All those attacks thus far, people, have taken place in international waters. Nevertheless, at least many of the drugs which were heading to the shores of the USA are finally being destroyed, and that's really important, people. And it will also act as a deterrence to discourage individuals from even smuggling drugs into Trinidad and Tobago, because they don't know when Trump could end up updating the policies that he's making and decide, you know what, we are going to also attack them in Trinidad waters and in Venezuelan waters as well. I went on to say, how come drugs were entering our country undetected for the past 10 years? That's what PNM patriots and the rest of the jihadists and them supposed to be thinking about. You really believe that any military can detect all the vessels trafficking drugs in our region? Or of course, they're using satellite feeds and whatsoever, but still, certain things could end up being missed. And besides that, as I was telling you before, it is up to our Coast Guard to actually do their jobs to prevent any illegal entry of drugs into our territory and our waters. And if, of course, we need assistance from Trump, I'm sure he's most likely going to be willing to give us that assistance. But anyhow, I went on to say, you do realize that Trump hasn't targeted any vessels in Trinidad or Venezuelan waters thus far. It could change, people. It could definitely change, and that will reduce crime even more significantly. You do know that we are only 7 miles away from Venezuela and that drugs will still enter our country through those channels unless our Coast Guard start to do their job properly, and they have the proper vessels to be able to do it as well. They need the vessels. Instead of being a critic, you should focus on discussing how this war against drugs can be improved, my dear fellow patriots. You won't be disappointed with this one. Look and feel great every day. Painless trimming with no pulling of hair guaranteed. Comfortable to hold and lightweight. Intelligent anti-pinch system. Safety travel lock. Accurate and painless trimming. Durability, 100% quality. Fast charging. To place an order, call or WhatsApp 868-762-6589. Moving on now to regional news. President Dr. Irfan Ali, basically the best president in Guyana's history, probably most likely, yes, definitely the best, and definitely the best leader in the Caribbean, along with Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar. Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar has a lot more boldness when it pertains to war against drugs and narco-terrorists, but President Irfan Ali is actually showing a lot more compassion for his people and utilizing the revenue he has to serve the people and don't make life up harder for them, but easier for them. And that's what I think is lacking quite a bit in our country at this point in time. I didn't really expect that though, because I've always considered our Prime Minister, Kamala Persad-Bissessar, to be a woman of compassion and love for the people, especially the poor people. some of the policies that she has implemented in that budget does not give that sign. It's quite disappointing. I still support her. I still support you. Be the people's prime minister, but I am disappointed. I'm not going to lie about that. Let me read the news over again. President Dr. Irfan Ali has reaffirmed the pivotal role of the Guyana Defense Force in safeguarding the nation's sovereignty and territorial integrity, emphasizing that while much has been achieved over the past 6 years, the mission is not yet complete. Speaking at a ceremony marking the GDF's 60th anniversary and its continued transformation and commitment to innovation, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces lauded the men and women of the force for their unwavering dedication to protecting Guyana's borders, airspace, rivers, and coastline. And the main people that they have to be protected from, the Venezuelan thugs. I love the Venezuelan people, but not those who are loyal to the Maduro corrupt criminal regime. From its inception, the Guyana Defense Force was entrusted with a sacred mission to safeguard our territorial region and sovereignty, to protect our independence and to defend our citizens against armed aggression. And we know where the aggression coming from. Venezuela under Maduro. Once he's removed, that will be it, you know. Venezuela will restore their diplomatic relations with Guyana, America, Europe, and of course Trinidad and Tobago. This mission spans both land and sea. This mission remains as vital today as it was 60 years ago, President Ali said. Construction of the Isano Secondary School in Region 7 is now complete. I'm telling you, development, exponential rate in Guyana, making history at the first ever secondary school to be built in the Middle Mazaruni district. It is yet another crucial step towards realizing the government's vision of a one Guyana, where the inequality gaps are filled and all Guyanese, regardless of where they live, can benefit from the same opportunities. Education officials are working every day to ensure that all children in the hinterland have full access to quality education without having to leave their families and communities to come to the coastland. The future is now brighter for the children of Isano and its neighboring communities. Wonderful. Moving on now to Jamaica, despite the destruction, despair, and chaos left behind in Trelawney by Hurricane Melissa, residents who have suffered immense loss, including some now homeless, are expressing deep gratitude for life as they begin to make sense of their new reality. Life is priceless, people, and this is why I said it even before the storm. You may lose everything in your home or whatsoever, and I've even seen a video of a guy that I follow on YouTube. He highlighted some of the cases, and it's really sad to see it, but they have life, and that's so much to be thankful for. Equally striking is the compassion of neighbors who, though spared the worst, have stepped in to help their brothers. That's what we call being your brother's keeper. Many opened their homes or made space in unused buildings, while others risked their lives to rescue those in danger as the Category 5 storm raged, tearing off roofs and flooding streets. That is, as much as it's devastating, it's good to see so much brotherly love amongst the people in Jamaica. Moving on now to international news. President Trump announced that he instructed the Department of War to prepare for attacks in Nigeria if the Nigerian government continues to allow the murder of Christians, he went on to say. Trump also said that the administration is halting all economic aid to Nigeria because, of course, the Nigerian government isn't really doing anything to stop the massacre of their own people in Nigeria, simply because, you know what? They are Christians. My response? I don't care what Trinis think and other tribals or jihadists think about this issue. I'm thankful that America invades other nations in order to protect innocent people from being massacred by savages. And do you know some of these individuals that are being massacred are not just Christians? They are Muslims as well, but they are peaceful Muslims. They are people that are not seeking any jihad war and stuff like that. They are not members of these jihadist groups, and therefore they are still being targeted and still being murdered. This is why I try to show my brothers and sisters here in Trinidad and Tobago, including Muslims, including many Muslims that I know that are really good people and that I am friends with. What you believe is not the same to what these individuals believe in the Middle East. You seek peace, they seek war. That is something you just don't understand. And you think in your mind, because you are fellow Muslims, that they are just like you. They are not. But anyhow, getting back to what I said there. I said you all could complain about the white man all you want. Thousands of lives will be saved if the USA intervenes and crushes those terrorists in Nigeria, and I will include Sudan. After that very serious warning from Donald Trump, this was a response from the Nigerians. The United States cannot unilaterally carry out any military operation in Nigeria over its claims of Christian persecution in the West African country. A Nigerian presidential spokesman told Associated Press Sunday. Such military threat from Donald Trump is based on, did you hear the evil about it? Is based on misleading reports and appears to be part of Trump's style of going forceful in order to force a sit-down and have a conversation. According to Daniel Bwala, a spokesperson for Nigerian President Bola Tinubu. These people, it already shows which side they stand on, because these people are denying the atrocities that are taking place in Nigeria, even though the people in Nigeria are crying out and begging for help. My response online: misleading reports. Are you people for real? I've seen the videos. I have seen it. I just cannot post it online because it's too graphic. I will lose my account if I do it. I can't do it on YouTube here either, or any of my social media accounts. I've seen the videos of people being murdered in cold blood by these jihadist terrorists, and where people are loving the utter lies being spewed by this Nigerian official, telling her that's how evil tribalism is. Caribbean people are blinded by their hatred for the white man and America. This is why they prefer to allow freedom fighters to continue massacring thousands of Nigerians. These are not white Christians, people. These are black people just like you outside there. And you don't mind that taking place because you know why. You just don't want America intervening into Mama Africa. You prefer for your own people to be slaughtered. Lord have mercy on all of you. This is why they prefer to allow freedom fighters to continue massacring thousands of Nigerian Christians than to support Trump's warning of military action to an incompetent and most likely corrupt Nigerian government. Moving on now to some Middle East news, still international. Ahead of a possible operation in Lebanon, Israeli sources warn that if the United States does not swiftly reach an agreement with Lebanon compelling Hezbollah to withdraw, Israel will proceed with a military operation. And I'm very thankful to hear Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu standing up a little bit against Donald Trump when it pertains to the Middle East and when it pertains to Israel and Israel's ability to protect themselves from these savages throughout the Middle East, whether it's Hezbollah, whether it's the Houthis, whether, of course, Hamas. Trump is doing so much of good, and yet he still tends to be blinded a bit when it pertains to anything pertaining to Israel. He supports them, but yet he wants to control them and tell them what they can and cannot do. Israel is your ally. I am fully in support of when you're going after rogue nations like the Nigerian government or like the Venezuelan corrupt government. But Israel is your ally. You shouldn't try to be controlling them, President Trump. New survey, about 70% of Palestinians oppose Hamas disarming. Could you believe that? After all this, and they still want Hamas to continue bearing arms. According to the survey conducted by the Palestinian Center for Political Studies and Surveys in Ramallah, support for Hamas has increased mainly in the West Bank, which is really Judea and Samaria. A trend reflecting the perception among the Palestinian public that resistance remains the most effective tool against the so-called occupation. These people, I'm telling you, Hamas equals Palestine. Hamas equals Palestinians. So when people are saying free Palestine, it's basically free Hamas. And when people are saying that the Palestinians and the Gazans should have their own state, what they fail to realize here in Trinidad and Tobago and across the region is that these individuals are most of them are radicalized, and they will never stop trying to erase Israel off the face of the earth. Closing off now with the interesting facts segment. 60 years, 0 fatal accidents. Always on time. Japan's bullet trains aren't just fast, they're considered flawless. Now, nothing is flawless, only God is flawless. But since launching in 1964, the Shinkansen has transported over 10 billion passengers without a single fatal accident due to derailment or collision. Thanks to cutting-edge earthquake detection, automated braking systems, and dedicated tracks, most likely meaning maintenance, of course, it's one of the safest transport systems in the entire world. It's short but sweet, people. Folks, that brings us to the end of today's news report. Thanks again to everyone who continues to support my content. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay blessed and stay safe most of all. In Jesus' name.